સારું દેખાય છે. Let's play.
Hello and welcome to the new series of SEMrush Webinar India. So we are live. Are we live?
Yes, we are. And
Yes,
glad
we
to
are.
be here.
Yes. So welcome guys to SEMrush India webinar series, and this is the first episode of this particular series, and we are here live. I'm hosting this particular webinar from western part of India, Gujarat. And where are you guys from? Just comment down below and let us know. Think so. The comments are coming up. We have guys joining in. So today's webinar would be all around on-page SEO, and we have our special guest for the day, Mahar Barai from Bangalore. Welcome guys, welcome. Where are you guys from? Comment down below. Wow, we have guys from South Africa joining in. Awesome. Ahmedabad, Pune, a lot of guys joining in. Welcome guys to the first session of this particular webinar series of SEMrush India, and we are here to host you. We are here with a lot of SEO knowledge around. We have our special guest Mahar Barai with us for this very first particular session. He's joining us from Bangalore, and let me take a chance and introduce him. So Mahar Barai is a veteran digital marketer, and he has more than 18 years of experience in this kitty, and currently he leads the head group of marketing at Tech Mahindra, and he leads the India and APAC countries. Welcome guys, welcome. So Mahar Barai is also the co-founder of SEO.Twitter Chat. It is one of the longest running Twitter chat from India in the digital marketing space, and he's the one who started the F&M show with Dr. Falguni Vasauda Oza, which was one of the first live shows from India.
Right. Thank you, Parth, for the generous introduction, and it's so wonderful to be here. I see a lot of folks, many of them whom I know, as well as many of them who are new faces, if I have to put it like that. But wonderful to see all of them. And if I look at some of those comments from folks from Ireland, from the US, from Indian region, yes, and it's so wonderful to be here and having this conversation and the opportunity to share on all the information that I know about, I have learned through my experience in the digital world. So exciting, and thanks to you and the SEMrush team. I know many of us still like to pronounce it as SEMrush, but yeah, I have learned to play it around, and the new branding for SEMrush. Hey Monica, nice to see you, and welcome. Hey Pritish, excited. Good friend Himani, awesome to see you here too. Wonderful. So just a way of quick introduction. Himani, we are excited too. It's the first show for Parth, and back to the India series, so much exciting conversation. Just a way of quick introduction. My name is Malhar, and I manage the global digital marketing for an IT organization based out of India, which is known as Tech Mahindra. I also manage their marketing for APAC, which is Asia Pacific and India regions. And I've been in the industry for more than 18 years now, and you know how easy the web was. Many of us started way back. I was part of a web development company, and that is how I got, say, introduced or even say interested about all the stuff that is SEO and the wonderful things around it. Uh, I know it was so easy back then. We just had to put few keywords in the title tags and the keyword tags, and we could see our sites rank. But over the time, that has changed. It has the search engines have improved a lot. There are some wonderful things that have or innovative stuff that have happened around search engines. You have Google, you have Bing, and all other search engines. So extremely delighted to be here. I will put on the presentation shortly as soon as Parth says
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Malhar. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. And we are grateful to have you for our very first session on this India webinar series from SEMrush. And probably guys are waiting for all the knowledge bombs around SEO and around on page. So I think so we are good to start. So we do have very good friends joining us from Norway as well. Sugandhan, thank you
Hey,
for joining,
Sugam.
man.
Hi. Okay,
I
I
think
am
so
just
it's the right time to start. Yeah, let's go.
absolutely. I will do that. Okay, let me know when you're able to see the slide. Here we go. All set?
Yep, let's get started.
Okay. So again, thank you, and let's just skip this interactive. So at any point of time, if you have a question, I'll be happy to take those questions and share something which I probably know to the best of my knowledge. And at some point of time, if you think this is not which is relevant, do let me know. It is okay. We are here to ensure that. The right knowledge is shared on this platform. And as we move forward, yeah, that was a quick introduction, a very narcissistic slide of mine, and I wouldn't go in further. But happy to talk about it later point of time. uh, we all know the basics. Everyone knows about what on page, or most of us know what is on page SEO. So but a quick reminder for folks who might just have joined or who might just have be starting into this industry. We usually talk about it as something that can be seen when you look at the website. So it could be as simple as the URL that you are looking at. It would also be the content that you see on the website, the way the title appears, or how that entire stuff is understood by the website, by the search engine. So your meta tags and all other snippets as well as schema markups, all of this constitute on-page SEO, and we are here to see how some of those things can be optimized for further to help you gain better results, better rankings. There are some very simple things actually, but those are very important, especially since we are seeing a new wave of innovation coming on the search engines where many of the things are being driven by automation, the machine learning stuff, etc. So it is very important to get some of those basics right so that it is easier for those machines to understand what your site is about, what the content is all about, and why it should rank higher than other sites who are in the similar space. So we'll talk a bit about all those things. We are also going to touch upon keyword optimization. Uh, it is an interesting topic for me because I have seen it mature from the days, like I say, 20 from the early 2001, 2002, where it was extremely simple to now, where we see a complex keyword optimization methodologies. So stay tuned. We will go through all those right now. And like I said, any point of time, feel free to put your question out. We'll be happy to answer. Parth will take it up and share it.
Sure, sure. Please feel free
Yeah,
to post your questions in the comments. Yep.
absolutely. So how do we optimize for all those stuff? And for that, what I believe, something that we should always understand is get into the shoes of the user, of the reader, someone who is going to consume your site. Uh, are we able to get the search intent right? Is it what really, whenever someone is putting that content on the search engine, is your site relevant? Is your content relevant for that particular keyword, key phrase that is being put out? Have we understood the intent of that person who is searching? Do they really want information, or are they looking to buy something, or are they just there to research about any of the things that are doing? So how is your site coming up? How will your site look on a device? How will your site look on a desktop? Uh, all of this matters because that is where you go on and optimizing. You look at the title tags, you will use some of those at the uh, h1 tag, h2 tags, etc. It will also help in terms of discovery, how it will rank in your search engine rankings, serps, how it will appear as a feature snippet or a knowledge panel, right? Because all of this has an intent in terms of it has to rank your site. It also is just not about discovering your site. Someone has to click it, someone will have to spend time on the site. So it is important that the dwell time, people spending time on your site, is equally important. So ensure that your content is aligned for all of this. And we start with the basics. Like I said, search intent. Am I understanding the user right? An example here, when someone is putting a best running shoes, do they really mean that it is just the shoes they are looking for? Are they looking for best running shoes for men or women or kid? Or are they looking for information in terms of best running shoes for a flat feet? So the moment someone is going to put this kind of information, what is the results that will come up? How is your site able to understand that intent and appear, right? The top page is usually reserved for all the ads, etc. But after that, how is your site understanding that intent? How is it processing that information for you to show? And that is where the second part is like, has the site understood what a person is looking for? And how do you do that, right? You take that keyword or key phrase and start using that across your content. And it could start from as simple as the url, like I mentioned. Is your keyword key phrase appearing on the url? Is it appearing on the title? Ensure that a part of it or the entire phrase is on the description as well. What I intend to say from this slide is, your key takeaway, your inference from this entire thing is like, keywords are important, but it is not about keyword stuffing. You have to use it at the right place at the right time so that your content appears for the people who are searching exactly for the term. Again, they could be buying the shoes or they could be researching the shoes. How is that appearing, and how is your site able to understand that? The second part of it, like I said, on the URLs, how are you optimizing that URL? Are you going to put are you going to put the keyword as part of the URL and at multiple places? And that is where your tags, the meta tags, as well as the meta description, etc., are so important, because each of those places your phrase has to appear, and ensure that is or the synonym of the phrase is there, so that anyone who is searching for it, they would be able to see that content. They will be able to see your website, which could be ranking on the serps. Again, the example here, best running shoes, if you look at it, the multiple places, that entire keyword key phrase has been used to ensure that uh, there is good ranking of the site. Going a little deeper, double clicking on that, if you look at if you look at the usage of the key phrase, again, it's a good practice. It's not an important ranking signal though, right? So you should not consider this as it's a ranking signal, but it's a good practice because that is how your the first part of how the ranking engines will understand your site, because that is the first thing that they will see. And when they see a particular key phrase on the URL, that is where they will go down and scroll your site for similar kind of information. So there should not be a mismatch of information. And again, like, not a ranking signal but important for indexing. The care that should be taken is you should ensure that you optimize for not more than 3 or 4 words. A longer URL is a very strict no. Also, they ensure that the URL structure contains that keyword. Don't have some random number, because we would have seen certain sites, like when you see a site name slash some number appearing, or something which is not actually relevant to the site appearing in the URL. So ensure that you look at the URL and that is optimized for the keyword. Uh, the second part of the thing, of the entire conversation, is your title and description. Now, if you look at it again, description is it's good to have a keyword key phrase in the description, but it is extremely important to have that in the header, in the title tag, right? It is one of the strongest signal for the search engines to know what your site is about. After it has gone through the URL, when it is going through your site, that title with a keyword is one of the strongest signal for it to crawl it further. So it gives the crawlers what is the intent of the site, and hence the usage matters a lot. Are we good on time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Any questions so
very,
far?
very good to start with. And so, as Mala rightly said, it's very, very important to write for the users and optimize for Google search engine or whatever search engine you are optimizing for. So there's no better insight than that for on-page SEO.
Thank you. Going further on the meta description, and like I said, it is good to have those keywords right as part of the description, though not a strong ranking signal. But you should be also careful to provide information to Google about what that entire site is or entire page is about. Because if you don't do that, Google will be rewriting some of those meta descriptions. For Google or any search engine per se, it is important that the right meta description is shown to improve the clicks on the website. So at times the Google machine learning, etc., will improve upon whatever is written, so that they give optimum information to the users whenever the search is happening. So uh, if you don't want that kind of scenario, ensure that your description is rich. It covers all the things that you want to tell about your page. So that's the reason it's an extremely important uh, content that you should look at, and optimally use the keyword key phrase as part of that, so that you are covered from the search engine perspective.
A lot of the guys from the audience might have questioned that is meta description a direct ranking factor or not? So
No.
would you want to throw? Okay,
No. And so like I said, right, it's not a strong ranking factor. And like Google tends to rewrite the descriptions to ensure that ensure the right information is being shared. So to to again let people know what the entire page is about. It is necessary that you share the right information as part of meta description. But to answer the question, it would not be a strong signal.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, so the quick do's and don'ts of the first part. So focus on the keyword, preferably at the start of the H1 tag. But again, it's preferably. So like there are debates around it that you can use it at other places and it is all right. But ensure that keyword key phrase is part of the title tag so that the intent of the page is extremely clear. Also, your title, try to use some of those modifiers so that you also try to rank for some of those long tail keywords. So the best, like we said, the best running shoes or the top running shoes, uh, running shoes for free, running shoes for paid users, etc. So, and you can use those modifiers at the start of the title, or you can even use it at the end of the title. So it all depends, but it has to be contextual. Don't just keep it for the sake of having a particular modifier. Be extremely contextual. And like I mentioned, never have the meta description blank, because then any content from the website which is relevant to the user might be picked up by the search engine. Sometimes it might not convey exactly what your page is about. So be extremely careful about that. Keyword stuffing, that is always a no. Never stuff anything. Never try to uh, have multiple uses of the keyword. So it never helps. Most of us know it, but just a point to reiterate. Please don't do that.
Yep. So going forward, we are receiving a lot of questions in the comments, and we are more than excited to answer all of those questions. But just give us a couple of more minutes until we finish the presentation, and we would be more than happy to pick up all of your questions and answer. So make sure you wait until the next 10 minutes probably, and then we'll pick up your questions for sure.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks, Parth. So the third part of the entire conversation, keyword. All of us love to uh, say talk about keywords, and like I said, the density matters, but it should not be stuffing. So what I mean by that is it's not that how many number of times a keyword appears on your content, but is it being used contextually? Like for example, the what we use, the best running shoes, is you can have just best running shoes appear 2 or 3 times across your content of 500 or 1000 words, but it has to be extremely contextual. If you look at the first or the second result for that, you will see that the same behavior, the best running shoes has been mentioned not more than 3 times or 4 times across that entire content. So uh, what we really have to do is it has to be placed extremely contextually. Also, you can find the synonyms, right? You don't need to use the exact keyword or key phrase. Try to use synonyms of those keywords, because the search engines are equally intelligent to understand those synonyms and rank you based on that. So keyword density for that matter, important for the search engines to understand your content, but does not really mean that you stuff the content. This is an advice which is as old as 10 years back, but I can still see few sites, few web developers, webmasters making the same mistake. So it's a very generic advice, and I will still like to push it that use synonyms. If you cannot, if you still want to use more keywords, try to find those synonyms and use it. but be extremely contextual about it. Don't just splurge it everywhere across the content.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
those who agree that keyword density is important and keyword stuffing should not be done, type one in the comment section, and we'd like to know what is your opinion around it. Or if you guys still think that keyword density works, then type two in the comment, and we'll get to know what you guys think.
that's a nice poll to be in. Okay, let me know what are the answers. Fortunately, my screen is being shared, so I don't know what's people looking at.
Awesome. We're getting good responses. So people believe that keyword stuffing doesn't work in 2021. So we are good to
Absolutely.
go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Right. The fourth part of the entire conversation, yeah, and for folks, we have six parts, so we are almost to the end. So don't worry. Featured snippet extremely important, and many of you might say this is not an on page, but the reason I have kept it here, one is you need to make your content easier for the search engines to understand, and that is where you need to look at opportunities uh, to streamline your content in the way the search engines understand. And what I mean by that is there are so many ways to do your structured markup, etc. Right? Ensure that your content is aligned to that. You can go to w3c.com and look at some of those ways where you can use those markup languages to ensure your content is aligned according to what those tags are. Also, and that is one of the most powerful way also to improve the CTRs of your website. So, and that is where I believe while your featured snippet might uh, reduce the number of clicks, but what I always believe is the moment there is a featured snippet, the quality of click improves a lot. So you will see a lot more dwell time, people coming on your site to understand more information about a certain topic. So you know that the intent is being followed, and that is where I personally believe feature snippets are extremely important in today's context, and any webmasters have to look at optimizing for the snippets. So that is the point that I wanted to highlight.
Awesome.
Uh, yeah, saying
So
something.
you mean to say that having featured snippet will increase the CTR, and that indirectly will help to rank
Yeah,
more higher and higher in the SERPs.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the way the markups are defined, if you look at it, right, uh, you'll have more information to show to the users, right? So anyone who is searching for you, and say the examples like I put it here, I'm just searching for some Italian restaurants around me, and I can see the rankings, I can see what they saw, I can probably look at the images because they have optimized for all of those things, right? And they have ensured, and what will happen is any restaurant that I click, I am actually interested in it, right? I'm interested to go, I'm interested to learn more about it. So while uh, if there would not have been any such information, the number of clicks would have been more, but it would not have been targeted. So the dwell time, like I said earlier, would not have been higher. The moment you see those, you see the structured information, it improves the quality of the click, right? And that is I believe is more important rather than just the number of click.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. probably let's move to the next one, and we are close
Okay.
to.
Right. So again, quick do's and don'ts on that. So have the focus keyword as part of schemas, because if you look at it on the schemas, you will see some of those the keywords that are being there highlighted when the search happens. So keep your keywords, key phrase, etc. in a very contextual way. And schemas, like I mentioned, is makes your content easier for the search engines to understand. So use it appropriately. From the don't side, see there is even from an understanding perspective, not everyone clearly understand the application of schema. Take time to read about them. Take time to read about the various implementation techniques that can be leveraged, because I have seen an inappropriate use of nesting of content in the schema. So please look at it closely, as you don't want your site to or your content to not rank just because your schemas are not aligned properly. The fifth and one of the most interesting point of on-page is image SEO, and recently the SEO image SEO guidelines have been revamped. So if you have not seen those yet, I would request you to go to Google, search for updated image SEO guidelines, go through them, because it is imperative that you follow some of those guidelines, so uh, that it will improve your rankings. And if some of the stats have to be believed, some of those site users have seen over 25% improvement in their click rates just after uh, ensuring that they follow the guidelines. The first and the simplest guideline that I always uh, recommend for everyone is to look at the size of the image, and for that, while it could be a little on the technical side, but from a very on-page size, you have to look at how the image appears on your mobile devices versus how it is appearing on your desktop. You should ensure that the images are optimized for devices. You use appropriate tags for image, and you also have different size of image shared on your CMS, etc., to ensure the right images appear. Uh, Apart from that, it is equally important or highly important that you have your alt tags uh, with a particular keyword key phrase that are relevant for you, because again, for example, the one here that I have used, they are using that particular phrase in their image names, as well as their alt tag, as well as the caption. uh, the revamped guidelines suggest that you should provide information around that image below, right below the image. So ensure that you put a caption around it. It's a best practice. Not would not be a ranking factor, but it helps in terms of ranking for even if someone is doing a image.google search. So use this. The contention here, many folks have often told me about, is should we use a JPG versus PNG versus a WebP kind of images? At this point of time, not all browsers still support a WebP kind of image extension. PNGs are advisable because they are known to take lesser amount of space. So use PNGs. JPGs, if you want to, if you are into an image sharing kind of website, and if you have to share extremely high quality images, use a JPEG kind of image. But otherwise, stick to PNG. WebP, wait for a few more months, let the support come around for other different browsers, and start using it. So I think I'm almost on time before the last topic. Right. We all know about it. Like many of us would have put this here. So, what is something new that this guy is talking about, and why suddenly there is this interest in on page, and why should we have this webinar around on page? Like I mentioned, some of the basics, right? There is machine learning, there is this automation bit coming in across search engines. The crawlers are becoming smarter, right? And there are various factors affecting your website. So it is imperative that we get some of those basics right. So and that this was our way of just reiterating some of those facts, some of those information for everyone. But more importantly, if many of you would have been following Google, and one of the updates that is going to come about is around passage indexing, right? Uh, we have talked about it. There are conversation happening around multiple uh, happening in multiple places, right? Multiple forums. People are talking about passage indexing, what it is, how does it affect ranking, how can someone leverage passage indexing. Again, it's not about ranking, it is about indexing. So and but it is extremely important. If you try to get a little deeper, what exactly it means is uh, it is it is about Google's ability not just to understand the content, right, say, or the intent of the page entirely, but it is going deeper and now understanding the intent of each of those statements, each of the paragraphs that are there on the site. So if you take the example of best running shoes, and you are going through all the things, but in one passage, if the webmaster has covered about these shoes will the best running shoes will be good for flat feet also, and it can help them to run better, etc. Now, Google will also understand that this particular content is relevant for best running shoes for flat feet also. So that is the beauty of passage indexing, and that is where your on-page optimization will help you to look at it, how you can optimize it further, just to have a better indexing when the passage indexing is released. I think it is going to be released early March. So we all have to be ready, right? So we all have to be ready for all those innovative ways of crawling that is happening through Google and other providers. So that was the intent of bringing this thing up, so that all of us are ready for the changes that are happening. Uh, you can you can again reach out to me if you want to learn more about passage indexing. Also, there are conversation going on at multiple places on the effect or how we can be prepared for passage indexing. With this, over to Q&A. Happy to take up questions, answer them. I have intentionally kept enough time for Q&A. Happy to pick up questions that you might have.
Awesome. This was a fantastic presentation, and specifically covering all the fundamentals of on-page SEO, the do's and don'ts. And at the end of the session, it was very, very important that you covered one of the futuristic do's, which will be in the picture starting early March, the passage indexing stuff. So awesome session so far, and we are good to go with Q&A. So come on, guys, now it's your time. Just put out all your questions around on-page SEO, and we would be more than happy to pick it one by one. And our expert for the day, Mahar, would be ready to answer each one of those. So let's start. So we have a question from Sandesh, who's asking, What is the difference in passage indexing and Smith, the new update?
I would rather look at passage indexing rather than concentrate on Smith at this point of time, because, like I said, it's a newer kid on the block, and uh, again, because Smith, etc., you come upon that, and they get into the BERT and all those kind of algorithms, right? So let us look at this point of time, look from a very passage indexing perspective, because then you get into the algorithm side of the things, which would be beyond this, because then it would go on the technical SEO bit, and probably beyond this conversation. So let us pull that in an offline conversation if it is okay for you, Sandesh. But really, a quick answer, again, it's gets on the technology side of the things, because you and there are conversations like you see by the Smith and the Board being compared at this point of time. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So the next question is from Dipanshu Gupta. He's asking that he's using Yoast SEO and satisfying all the parameters points which are suggested by Yoast, but still he's not able to see any good results.
So, interesting question, and like I said, see, those plugins, the used plugins, etc., are more as indicators, right? You should not be thinking that they are do all kind of things. They are more like indicators in terms of these are the best practices that you should follow. But there are multiple factors that could be affecting your site. So, again, your host would see, okay, are you using the keyword, are you using the keyword 10 times in a content, are you using keyword in or the synonym, etc., right? So all those things are merely pointers to a, or I would say it would improve the chances of ranking higher, not necessarily that it will ensure ranking, because there are multiple other signals also affecting. So that is how I would classify that.
Awesome. So let's move to the next question, and it's from Jagdish Thakur, and he's asking that do we need to focus much on the title and description side and the edge of passage ranking? Because many a times Google takes H1 and some content from the SERP which is not in meta tags.
Absolutely, like I said, right, your descriptions are often rewritten by Google, and that is the reason you try to convey the right message through your description, so that the chances of getting or using your content from different part of the site on the description happens less. If you are able to convey the intent of your page properly through a description, there will be, you'll see lesser chances of Google picking up or rewriting your description.
Awesome. Uh, we have the next question from there's this specific name called Carry Technologies, and is asking that people also ask section the question tab, how do
Mhm.
we how do we have used keywords in our on-page activities to reach to PAA?
Okay, PPA questions tab, how to get out questions there. I have to use keywords. Sorry, I'm not able to actually get the question. Is there some way to?
Um, Probably the question is a little bit not clear, but he means to say that how do I rank on people also ask for section on the
So,
sub.
yeah, that's an interesting thing. Something that I always tell folks is to look at ways your content can answer certain queries, right? So, is there a question schema, right? Are you able to answer the what, where, why, how kind of things through your content? And if you are able to do that, you'll start. ranking according to the people asked stuff, right? So that is one way that I believe or I have seen ranking better when you are putting your content in a Q&A kind of format. I hope that answers.
Yes. We have the next question from Simranjit Baraj, and he's asking, how can we make dynamic URLs SEO friendly?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. So it's literally tough actually to make them SEO friendly. But I am not sure if there's any easier way to do it. Uh, I need to see how to pick that up. So how to explain that? Let me
It,
come
it,
back
it
to that. Yeah, let me come back to that. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it
sure,
falls
definitely.
under the umbrella of programmatic SEO. So
So there's
it's
a lot of
called
things that you need to
yeah.
do.
Um, we have a question from Jaideep Parikh,
Oh
and
wow.
he's asking that which image format is good to go, WebP or SVG?
No, excellent. And I covered that earlier. So definitely say WebP is good. Only challenge is the browser support is still missing for many across many of those browsers. So wait for a few months, and once the support is through, we could be looking at more usage of WebP, and that's where I suggested probably look at PNG, which is still one of the most used kind of image. Probably better at this point of time, but you should look at how you can minify those or minimize those images using different tools so that appropriate image types are used or appropriate resolutions are used across devices.
Awesome. So we have the next question from Amit Malvi. He's asking which key on-page parameters are important for e-commerce SEO?
Wow. E-commerce SEO, one of the, say, your description has to be extremely powerful. And uh, by that, I mean, and I guess most of those parameters, your product name in the URL, your product name, uh, also the URL structure, that is also equally important because you want your site name slash product slash your product name, shortest URL kind of structure, but at some point of time you may also add a category, etc. So it's important to see how you can create a nice URL structure around your product. The second is how do you describe what is the description of that product? Is it relevant enough for people to who are searching for it? And the third is how can you put some of those offers also as part of the description, because you want people to click, you want people to get an offer, and that putting anything which is some kind of offer improves the chances, and you can use that offers on your title tag or on your description. Again, uh, there are programmatic ways also of doing that, which you can explore. But as a static page, you can definitely look at using different URL structure as well as description across title and meta description.
Fantastic. Moving forward to the next question from Nida A. Is asking, is it true that longer content in blog increases the SEO ranking?
Oh, wow. Strong correlation? No, right. So it's not really about the size of content, right? What actually matters is how much informative that content is, right? If you are able to convey the information in 300 words, it is equally important. If you are able to convey the message in 1,000 words, that is also all right. I really do not look at the page size as a important factor in terms of the length of the page, but what matters is how good the content is, how informative. Again, you go back to the EAT kind of stuff that we talk about. Are you able to show authority on that particular subject? Are you trustworthy enough on the subject for people to know about your site, right, or about your content? So each of those things matters rather than just length of the content.
Awesome. So that same guy has asked another question, which is also important according to me, and is asking how important are H1 tags for SEO?
Extremely important, right? And I think I put that on my slide also. It is extremely important because and also usage of your keyword key phrase on the H1 tag, or across any of your H1 H2 etc tag is important, because it highlights the intent of the page to the crawler. So I guess you have to leverage those title slash H1 tags to ensure that it conveys the right intent of the page.
Oh, yes. So before moving forward to more questions, we have an update for you guys. The next webinar is already scheduled, and it's all about how you can leverage Wikipedia for SEO. And it's on 18th of March, and we'll be having Jaideep Parekh as the expert guest in the month of March. So make sure you register on that also. Before we move forward to the next question, um, so Abhishek Vanya asks one more question, which is very fundamental and important. Uh, what is your one single advice with respect to on-page SEO for a newbie blogger?
Okay, newbie blogger or anyone who is writing content, have, like I said, the first part, understand the user intent. What is the user intent as well as the search intent? Look at, do your keyword research uh, in a better way. Use SEMrush to look at how you can to do a competitor analysis or keyword analysis, see what people are ranking for, and then start writing your content, irrespective of blogging or any other content type, because that is the first step. Once you understand the search intent, you will have relevant keywords, key phrases for your page, and after that you can start building the page. And again, start building the page right from how you will showcase that and the URL, how you'll put it on the title, how you'll put your keyword key phrases across the content on the page. Uh, use use all those, and you can follow that checklist. You can ensure you have a checklist that covers each of those things. And I guess I'll be happy to share that checklist also later. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really kind of you. Um, we have the next question from Deepak Dubey, and he asks, "Is canonical URL really important, or SitePep will take care of any URL related issues?"
Oh, nice one. So, canonical important reason is, see, you want to ensure whenever your page is being crawled, it is important to showcase uh, or highlight the intent. And I go back again to the intent part, because that is where the entire user journey starts from, right? And that is where your canonical URL plays a very important role to highlight why your pages important as well as relevant for the user.
Awesome. Um, Moving forward to the next question from the question is from Kailash Kumar, and he's asking, can a detailed blog post of a product outrank that e-commerce site selling that particular product?
Yes, definitely. And if you look at, see again, like I said, it can does not really mean it will, right? So, but if because there are a lot of other factors to the ranking of the site, but if you are writing a detailed post that is informative for the user, and like I mentioned, uh, best running shoes, right? So you can find running shoes across e-commerce site, but some of the sites that got listed at the top were about showcasing or highlighting information of the shoes, right? So it is not uh, that the e-commerce site will always rank higher. If your content is informative enough, it can definitely rank higher than the e-commerce site because it is providing information to the reader.
Fantastic. Moving forward to the next question from Digital Knowledge, and he asks, how much does the search volume play a role for keywords on title tags?
Oh, so definitely an important factor because whenever you are searching, when you are doing your keyword research, you need to find that right balance of the traffic that is being targeted toward those particular keyword, right? Because you want people to be searching for those keyword, and then you align it. And like I said, use modifiers appropriately on your keyword key phrases, so that you also get a long tail benefit. So on your H1 title tag, etc. Use those keyword key phrases based on the volumes because you want people to be searching for it, and have modifiers so that you also look at a long tail aspect.
Awesome. The next question is from Amar Kate, and he asks how to rank the same website URL in two different cities.
Sorry, I didn't get it. Can you come again?
Yeah, sure. So I'll repeat it. So Amar is asking to
Okay,
rank the same. Yeah.
same website URL in two different cities. Again, like I said, too many factors at play, right? So if you have if your content is optimized for local SEO also, it your and if you have offices etc. across two different cities, if you have your product covered across two different places, I am sure you can rank across two different cities as well. But again, there is a bit of local SEO at play also, not limited to on-page SEO.
Okay. So we have last couple of questions to go before we end today's session on page SEO do's and don'ts. Uh, so we have one more question from Ninjin. How can I rank a digital smile design website? Not much search keywords on that in my country.
Okay, so how to rank is so again goes back to what is the intent, right? What kind of search is happening for the content that you intend to rank? Are because the reason people are not or you're not finding too much keyword is probably those are not the keywords that are being targeted or people are looking at. So the research would play a very important role in terms of what are the specific keywords that people are looking at when they want to find content which you want to rank, and that is where I would start off. And then I would revise the content, right? If you have already put the content and not seeing the traffic, I would revise the content to have to cover those keywords which people are actually searching for, and I'm sure you will be able to see the traffic. Yeah, so dentistry, so typical dentistry, what in dentistry are people looking for? Are see, they are not looking at something like how I can improve my smile, but it could be as simple as how what is the nearest place to clean my teeth or get my tooth fixed. So, uh, is your content able to answer some of those questions, right? Improve your dental health, or improve your again clean your teeth or something like that, right? So and this is just off top of my head kind of queries that I'm putting. So some of those key phrases you can look at, and start revamping your content if not done yet around those kind of keywords.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Malhar. So it's been 1 hour. It's been more than 1 hour since we have been discussing around do's and don'ts of on-page SEO, and we are grateful to have you today. And thank you for your valuable insights with the SEMrush audience here. And it was really a pleasure hosting all of you guys. So before we wrap up today's session, you make sure you ask more questions in the YouTube section below, YouTube comment section, and we also do have a comment section available on the landing pages of SEMrush. So please feel free to ask your questions. As and when we get time, we'll be answering your questions. Malar will be answering your questions in the comment section. And this is it, guys. Before we wrap up, I would just want you to follow all the SEMrush social media accounts: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And follow our special guest, Mahar Barai, on Twitter and LinkedIn. And you can always reach out to him for any queries around on-page SEO. And we would be more than happy to answer your questions. It was really, really great hosting all of you, answering all your queries. We tried to pick most of the comments possible, but it's difficult to pick up all the questions available. So uh, we hope to see you in the next webinar on March 18th. We'll have Mahar Barai's co-host, co-friend, Jaideep Parikh, who is the co-founder of SEO Talk. We'll be having him as an expert guest on March 18th when we discuss more about how to leverage Wikipedia for SEO. So see you guys on 18th of March. Until then, have a great week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for hosting me. And yeah, I look forward to that conversation with Jaideep, between you and Jaideep. I'm sure it would be extremely good. So we already have the landing page for the next session with Jaideep. Ensure that you register for it. He is an awesome guy to know from. So very knowledgeable to register. That's all I can say,
Yes.
right?
You can't
Thank you
miss
so
out
much
on
for
sessions as well.
that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Malar. And
Thank
we are
you.
signing off for the day and look forward to see you all on March 18th. Thank you.